Can I see the?
Welcome back for the second half of the 2015 Michigan football spring game. The blue team on top at the half, 7-0. Thanks to Shane Morris and Jerron Dukes connecting for the lone score at the closing seconds of the first half. So the blue team will start with the football and a 7-point lead as Shane Morris looks to continue his great play carrying over from the first half. Leo Blavin alongside CJ Stone. And CJ, what are you going to be looking for from the blue team's offense here in the second half?
Well, from the blue team's offense, I'm going to actually be looking for a lot more running plays from their running backs. You've seen the Mays team shift between running backs between Green and Smith, but so far on the blue team the running backs haven't gotten as much love as the receivers have.
And Shane Morris starts things off with a handoff to Wyatt Schulman. The single back formation, the starting formation for the blue offense. He got decent yardage rushing to the left side, getting outside the tackles, but a flag is down on the field, and it's in the area of offensive holding, and that will be the call. So yet again, another penalty. We've seen quite a few penalties so far from both sides, and that was something that plagued Jim Harbaugh's 49er teams in San Francisco, as they were continually one of the most penalized teams in the NFL, and that certainly has to be a concern. No team wants to see a lot of penalties. However, in the spring game, it's more expected.
Oh, so far the penalties have all mainly come from the offense. It's either been offensive holding or offensive offsides. So you have to wonder exactly how disciplined this offensive line is going to be going forward. They have to get that under control.
Shane Morris starts in the shotgun on this 1st and 20, firing a deep ball on a double move just out of the reach of Amara Darbo, who had Dennis Norfleet beat yet again. And the blue team continues to try to beat Dennis Norfleet, as he appears the guy they're looking to test frequently.
Well, one thing is Darbo just didn't have a chance to get to that ball. It was a tap it too overthrown by Morris right there. And then the thing you have to give credit for is Norfleet, even when he gets beaten, is doing a pretty good job at trying to contain Darbo when he actually gets the ball. Norfleet has knocked that ball from Darbo's hands a couple of times this game so far.
2nd and 18, single back formation is Schulman, the lone member of the backfield, Morris under center. Coming in motion is Joe Carriage. As the handoff goes to Schulman, he rushes right up the middle. Pickup of 3 yards sets up a 3rd and 15.
On the 2nd and long plays after penalties, you really have to wonder why teams decide to go with the offense with a run plan, as I'm sure many fans got tired of seeing that last year. If you're the blue team, throwing the ball has given you some success, and I understand that you want to get your running backs worked out, but right there, in my opinion, would make more sense to try and get a couple of decent yards on a short pass play.
Neither side's run the ball particularly well so far in this game. The blue team 34 rushing yards so far as they prepare for 3rd and 15, as Morris takes the shotgun snap and fires, and getting beyond the first down marker is Jake Butt, making his 2nd catch of the game, picking up 16 yards and a 1st down for the blue team.
Jake Butt with a really good catch right there. Went up, grabbed it, both hands, no problem. And that was a sharp, accurate pass from Morris.
So 1st and 10 as the blue team moves the chains, ball on their own 36-yard line, as they are sitting on a 7-0 lead. Morris takes the snap and hands this one off to Schulman, who's met in the backfield immediately. No gain on that play, as Maurice Hurst Jr. came in from the linebacker position to deliver the blow for a loss of 1.
Hurst right there was completely ready for Schulman, stopped him from going anywhere, and wrapped him up. Excellent play from the sophomore.
2nd and 11, ball on the 35 for the blue team. Morris under center. Takes the snap and hands this one off. Taking the handoff is Ross Taylor Douglas, as the defensive back, typically defensive back, lines up at the running back position, takes the handoff, picks up 2 yards, setting up 3rd and long for the blue team.
And right there, you saw another player coming out of his natural position to go into the running back. As you said earlier during this game, it seems like Jim Harbaugh is just trying to find the best plays he can, the best, fastest runners he can get in the backfield. Since Tyler Douglas was a defensive back in the past, speed is definitely something that they have to have.
Morris readies in the shotgun with Shulman to his left. Takes the snap, fires over the middle to Jake Butt, who picks up about 6, but it won't be enough. And it'll be interesting to see what the play call is here, as it's 4th down and about 1. Typically, we see the simulated punt where they simply just place the ball at where they would expect a punt to go, but it appears the blue team will be going for it on 4th and 1 with the ball in their own 45.
Not too surprised by this here, as you want to get your running back some work. Both sides of the offense need to see what their running backs can do on short yardage plays where 1 or 2 yards is what is necessary.
No fullback in here. Joe Carriage lined up currently at the tight end position. It'll be interesting to see if he comes in motion. He will. Heavy right side. Fake handoff to Shulman, and it's fired to Carriage running out of the flat. He will pick up the first down and a whole lot more. Great play design there. Great play call. And it allows Joe Carriage to pick up the first down, getting across midfield and being finally brought down at the 44-yard line on the white team side of the field.
And it looks like Shane Morris is finding some confidence in his throws. That was a very accurate pass that hit his tight end right in the numbers.
So the blue team sitting on a 7-0 lead here with 5:50 left to go in this 3rd quarter of the spring game. Morris hands it off to Shulman, who's got some room right up the gap, is where he will take it and run it for a pickup of 2 yards, brought down by Ben Gideon.
Shulman's getting a lot of work at the running back position this drive for the blue team. He's actually been one of the main running backs for the blue team all game. You have to wonder why Ty Isaac has not come in. As you said earlier, there's been some talks about whether he would have even played in this game due to some injuries.
And seeing Isaac standing on the sideline, helmet off, his day may in fact be done, as both Derek Green and Davion Smith on the Mays team, so Shulman may be the only back left. Fake handoff on 2nd and 8 as Jake Butt, the intended receiver, unable to extend and reach for the football as it falls incomplete, setting up a 3rd and 9 with the ball on the 43-yard line.
On that one, you have to wonder if that was a off throw by Morris, or if Butt was just not ready for that catch, as he was wide open, and it looks like the play was designed to go directly to Butt.
Sets up a 3rd and 9 for the blue team. 2 receivers split out wide to the left. Shulman in the backfield with Morris in the shotgun position. He's got Amara Darbo to his right. Takes the shotgun snap on 3rd and long. Firing this one as it's nearly intercepted. First, it was Jabril Peppers making the jump on the Bo Deaver in route, and then it fell into the hands of Delano Hill, who couldn't hang on to the football. Great defensive play there by Peppers, forcing the incompletion, and it will give the ball back to the Mays team.
Hill right there almost had that as it hit him in the chest, and it just slipped right through his arms. You got to think he wants that one back.
Certainly not a good read by Morris's. Bo Deaver had the inside route, but Peppers was on his inside hip. Peppers, if anything, ran the better route there than Bo Deaver. Morris tried to force it, and fortunate that Delano Hill couldn't hang on to the deflected pass.
As you noted earlier, Peppers is showing some of these fans out here the first sign of his ability to play defense, as he was hurt for the majority of the season last year, and so far he has had a great spring game so far.
The white team takes over at their own 10. Malzone still in the ballgame as he hands it off to Joe Beneducci. A new face on this Michigan team comes in at the running back position, receives the handoff, runs out to the right, and picks up just a yard.
Now with a 3rd running back coming into play for the Mays team, if you're the defense for the blue team, you have to be prepared, as each running back on the Mays team runs a tad bit differently than the other.
Bobby Henderson in at fullback, and Davion Smith dotting the I with Malzone under center. 1 receiver split out wide to both sides. Malzone drops back looking to pass. Pressure coming. He's trying to settle in, fires off his back foot, simply throwing this one away as no one came open, and the defensive pressure continues to be a problem for both offensive lines. Sets up a 3rd and 8 with the Mays team continuing to struggle on offense. Just 74 total yards for the Mays team, 36 rushing yards and 38 passing yards.
You've got to wonder if that's because the Mays team does not have as many senior players on its offensive line. Right now, they're starting Mason Cole, Patrick Kugler, and Blake Bars, and these are players that have not gotten that much play at the offensive line, whereas on the blue team, they have a couple more senior players like Glasgow and David Dawson.
3rd and 8 is Maurice Ways, who ran onto the field late with 10 seconds left on the play clock, ran onto the field, ran across the field, and ran the inside slant route. Made the play, unfortunately, well short of the 4th down for the Mays team, as the blue team will get the ball back with a 7-0 lead with 3:57 left to go in the 3rd quarter. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of the 2015 Michigan Spring Game. Leo Blavin alongside CJ Stone. And CJ, Alex Malzone has looked good in parts, but at the end of the day, just 79 total yards with him leading the offense. What's been the problem for the Mays team when they've had the football?
Well, one thing the Mays team is having issues with is Malzone's not getting a lot of protection. He's simply getting blown up in the pocket almost every time he drops back to pass. Another thing, they've tried to do a lot of ground and pound on the ground and pounding with 3 different running backs, and they just haven't been able to find the holes necessary to get any significant yardage. And then the biggest issue is that so far there has not been a receiver like Darbo or Butt to really take command of the Mays team's offense when it comes to catching the ball.
Antonio Whitfield in the backfield as Morris pitches it to him. Whitfield running outside to the left, and again, no room. The secondary and the linebackers doing a good job closing any sort of room as Ben Gedeon, again, the first man there to make the stop for a loss of 1, as the running game has really been a problem for the blue team.
Whitfield trying to go to the outside and just was not able to find the space to move anywhere up the field. That's something that the blue team has been doing. They've been going left to right, but just not able to generate any type of forward movement.
Just 10 yards on the ground for the blue team. 2nd 11 with the ball on their own 42-yard line. Jake Butt comes in motion, going left to right. 2 receivers split out wide to the right as Whitfield again takes the handoff, cutting inside, picking up 1, maybe 2 yards, setting up another 3rd and long situation for the Shane Morris-led side.
The blue team has done a very good job passing the ball for this game, but beyond that, they have not been able to generate any kind of run offense. And so far, if you're Jim Harbaugh, that's something that you have to be slightly concerned about.
An almost certain passing situation here on 3rd and 9 with the ball on the blue team's own 44-yard line. Whitfield to the right in the shotgun. 3 receivers split out wide to the left, and that's where Shane Morris is looking. He settles in, and just no time as he tried to get rid of the ball, but was brought down first. Another great play made by the Mays team defense as the linebacker Joe Bolden, the senior, came in to make the sack against his teammate in the regular season, but in this game, his opponent, Shane Morris, who gets brought down yet again as the white team will get the football back, or I should say the Mays team.
So far in this game, the Wolverines are definitely are struggling when it comes to having a complete concrete offense, and you have to really give most of that to the fact that this is a new offensive scheme under Harbaugh. It involves a lot more tight end work. It involves a lot more from their running backs than the last regime under Hoke did. As under Hoke, you saw a lot of strong I formation plays. Here, you're seeing a lot more under center snaps from the offense.
Malzone takes another under center snap, handing it off to Davion Smith, who is in the backfield. He got great space on the initial handoff and was able to pick up 7 yards there, maybe 8, as it sets up a 2nd and 2 ball on the 30 for the white team, who trails 7-0 here with under 2 minutes now left to play in this 3rd quarter of the spring game.
So far, out of all the running backs to play today, Smith has had the best game. He's been able to find the most holes and get the most yards on his run plays, which is why I wouldn't be too surprised if you see him emerging out of this game as the possible starter for running back.
Smith again takes the handoff, picking up another 5 yards, and that'll move the chains as the white team looking to get something going on offense with Alex Malzone still under center. Are you surprised at all that we've seen neither side go to the backup quarterbacks yet?
Actually, no. I'd be shocked if, with only 7 points on the board, that if either side would go to the backups. Mainly because you just want to, if you're Jim Harbaugh, you want to see how both of your quarterbacks play under pressure for a prolonged period of time.
New set of downs for the Mays team as Davion Smith gets the handoff from Malzone, rushing to the right side, trying to get outside, picking up positive yardage again as Davion Smith has looked good so far on this drive, has yet to lose yards, and now that will put the blue team, or the Mays team, I should say, over 50 yards on the ground so far in this game with still a minute left to play in the third quarter. Is finally some signs of life from this Mays offense.
And one thing you got to give Smith credit for is that on that last run, he was hit by a couple of blue team defenders, and he just kept barreling down and pushing forward.
Sets up a 2nd and 7 ball in the 38 for the Mays team, trailing 7-0 with 30 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Davion Smith, the lone man in the backfield. Malzone pivots it to Jehu Chesson. Wide receiver pass, throws one up, and Maurice Ways is there to make the play. A huge gain as the trickeration comes again. It was Chesson coming in motion in the backfield, taking the direct pitch from Alex Malzone, and that may have been the best pass we've seen so far from the Mays team as they get to the opposing side of the field for the first time in this quarter.
And right there, that play completely fooled the blue team's defense. Gotta give credit to Jordan Lewis for making the tackle on Ways, as that had a chance to be a lot worse. But excellent throw there by Chesson, something you're not exactly used to seeing from a wide receiver.
Maybe he can throw his hat in the ring as a possible quarterback contender, as the 1st and 10 handoff picks up more positive yardage. So at the end of the third quarter, the blue team on top 7-0, with the Mays team moving the football. They'll have it on the 28-yard line to start the fourth quarter with a 2nd and 6. And all of a sudden, with that one trick play, and we've seen a few attempted trick plays, this was the first that was really successful, and it's got the Mays team right back in this ball game. They needed a spark, and they got one thanks to Jehu Chesson's wide receiver pass to Maurice Ways for a huge gain.
What's funny is that's one of the first plays from or to a wide receiver that we've seen in this half from the white team. They've done their best to try and just do nothing but run the ball and possibly throw it up to a couple of tight ends, but their wide receivers have not gotten nearly as involved as the wide receivers on the blue team. However, right there, they come in, get the defense off guard, and are able to make the big plays.
Have you been impressed with Shane Morris so far today? Because I know coming in, I expected him maybe not even be the starter for the blue team, but he's looked good. I would say he's had some struggles because wide receivers simply dropping the football, but his throws have been on the money so far.
He's been a lot more accurate than he has in the past, as he's had some very, very good throws from the pocket and the shotgun. And one thing that I've got to give him credit for is that he's taking a tad bit off the ball when he needs to. As when he came in, he had a cannon for an arm. That was one of the best things he had going for him, but his accuracy was always an issue. So far, we've only seen him overthrow maybe once or twice this whole game.
As the Mays team gets things started in the fourth quarter, Malzone is going deep, just cannot find Brian Cole, a player who came in. He's an early enrollee, so he will be a true freshman next year. And he was far and away the most highly touted recruit coming in for this short recruiting class that Jim Harbaugh sort of had to throw together at the last second. But Cole was the one guy who stayed committed along with Alex Malzone through the coaching turnover, and he's a guy who many expect to contribute right away, as it sets up a 3rd and 6 ball on the 28 for the Mays team, trailing 7-0, their best opportunity so far today with the ball. Malzone takes the snap, hands it off to Davion Smith, who doesn't secure the handoff. The ball is loose, and I believe Chris Wormley was there to cover it up for the defense, and a terrible turnover there for the blue team, or for the Mays team, as The blue team needed a stop, and they got one. The Maize team turns it over on the fumble as Davion Smith never able to secure the handoff from Malzone.
And right there, that was just a poor handoff, as it seems like Smith just ran, not really knowing that he had the ball in his hands. It touched his arms and just kind of flipped off. Right there, you've got to be upset if you are the Maize team, as this was your first time really showing some life on offense this whole game, and then it all just ends up being for nothing.
So the blue team takes over at their own 28. Morris takes the snap and will hand this one off, looking for room and getting positive yardage on the rushing on the ground has been a struggle all game for the blue team, but they get positive yardage there as taking the handoff. His first touch his most recent touch, Ross Taylor Douglas, a guy who, again, listed on the roster as a defensive back, but he's looked good. At times, he's shown flashes as a talented running back. 2nd and 7, ball in the 31 for the blue team with a 7-0 lead with just over 9 minutes left to go in this spring game. Morris fakes the handoff, or rather does just get a quick handoff off, and picking up positive yardage there was the fullback, Joe Carriage, a guy who got some action at fullback last year, but rarely got touches. He gets one there, picking up positive yardage, setting up a 3rd and 5 for the blue team.
Right there, that's a much better run play from any running back so far on the blue team, as Carriage as a fullback is a bigger body and just able to barrel through a couple of defenders. Right now, the blue team needs to continue to try and get some decent plays going on the run game, as they only have 11 total yards of rushing on the day so far.
Morris readies for the shotgun snap on 3rd and 5. High snap. Morris able to juggle it and corral it. Fires out to Jake Butt, extending towards the first down marker, but it appears he's going to come up just a yard short. It'll be interesting to see where they measure it, and it is indeed short. Will the blue team go for it? It appears so, as some offensive players already running on the field. They have a 7-0 lead, the ball in their own 37, but it is the spring game, and you expect them to go for it. It looks like they will do just that.
Got to give Jake Butt a lot of credit there to try and at least extend that catch. Laid out to try and move the ball past the first down marker, but wasn't able to get it down in enough time. Also, Morris on that one was given a terrible snap and was able to make the best of it by not only getting it and having a very quick release, but having an accurate pass to Jake Butt as well.
And I stand corrected, as the offense was out there for a long time, but it appears as though Jim Harbaugh is not going to let him go for it. He's basically the coach for both sides in this game, as DJ Durkin is the defensive coordinator, and he leads the Maize team against Tim Drevno, the offensive coordinator leading the blue team, as they will bring out the sticks to measure. Still unclear if the blue team will be allowed to go for it. The ball on their own 37. They have a 7-0 lead. As the 4th and 1, they won't punt it. They'll give the ball back or they won't. And it appears as the offense heads back to the sideline that they will give the ball back simply to the Maize team.
One thing that you've got to, if you are the blue team, you have to be happy with how your team is making plays on the pass. But you also have to be very concerned that you only have 11 yards rushing. This is what's probably going to end up happening is this is going to come down between 3 running backs, between Smith, Green, and Isaac. But with Isaac not playing for the rest of this game, with his helmet not on the sidelines currently, you have to be very surprised if you have to be kind of concerned that the blue team has just not been able to run the ball with these backup running backs.
7-0 the score in favor of the blue team. Maize team taking over on their own 20 as miscommunication. Malzone threw it well behind Jehu Chesson as it falls incomplete, setting up a 2nd and 10. Maize team with the ball on their own 22-yard line with a touchdown deficit.
Chesson had no chance of really getting that ball. He really overran it and just ended up having to turn back, trying to adjust his body to make the catch, and it was already too far committed to the direction he was going.
It appeared he had Jordan Lewis speed on the inside route, just Malzone throwing it well behind him, setting up the 2nd and 10. Derek Green in the backfield takes the handoff, running right to left, picking up positive yardage, gain of 1, maybe 2 yards will set up a 3rd and long for Malzone and the Mays team.
You've got to wonder if, since Malzone has the more senior, more experienced laden running backs on his side, you have to wonder if that was the plan from when the teams are being drafted to give him a better shot at having a relatively decent offense. So far, when he's had the chance to throw, his throws have not exactly been as accurate as they could be. He's shown he's got the power, but the accuracy is still a little wavering right there.
Malzone takes the snap on 3rd and long, firing it to Dennis Norfleet, now lined up as a slot receiver, trying to extend to the markers, comes up a yard short. Wouldn't be surprised, though, to see the Mays team go for it, even though the ball's on their own 31-yard line. It's 4th and 1, but they're down 7-0, and with 6.5 minutes left to play, at some point they're going to have to go for it. But Jim Harbaugh lifts his right leg, indicating a punt, so the ball will go back to the blue team with 6:33 left to go in the 4th quarter, and the blue team on top, 7-0.
If you're the blue team, I think you want to show a couple more passes so far in this game. You just want to move that ball down the field. But you also want to try and give Shawman a couple more chances to see what he can do as a running back, as he's a big body that can give you not only the couple extra yards when you're going up against a defensive line, but can also potentially serve as a very decent blocker. If that's one thing that I've got to give the blue team credit for, is that when Morris has gone back to pass with the shotgun, his running backs have done a very good job at keeping defenders off of him.
1st and 10, ball on the 29 for the blue team. Morris takes the snap and will hand this one off to Wyatt Shulman. Shulman rushing up the middle, picking up 3 yards, setting up a 2nd and 7. Not a lot of running room there, but he was able to make the most of it, and the blue team's ground struggles have continued so far in the second half, as that'll give them just 14 total yards on the ground so far in this game as they ready for 2nd and 7, ball on their own 32.
You have to wonder where Shulman was running on that one, because if you look back at that play, there was no kind of hole for him to go to. The fact he even got yards out of that play is a benefit for him.
Joe Carriage comes in motion on 2nd and 7. Morris under center, hands it off to Shulman, who's met immediately in the backfield as Jabril Peppers, coming out off the edge, delivers the big blow for the loss of 2.
And that's what you want to see from the big man at the defensive back position, coming in as a possible extra rusher, something that Jordan Kovacs has done in the past for the Wolverines, something you've seen from Wolverine defenses in the past, and Peppers is able to take up that role and just stuff Shulman before he can go anywhere past the line of scrimmage.
Lowered the shoulder and delivered the boom, setting up 3rd and long, 9 yards needed to move the chains here with the ball in the 35-10 left to go in this spring game. The blue team on top with the football. Morris in the shotgun, takes the snap, looking to his left and now firing right deep. He's got Amara Darbo, who has a step on his defender, and it's just out of the reach. He had Dennis Norfleet beat Amara Darbo streaking down the right sideline, but the ball falls just out of his reach as Shane Morris nearly had the home run pass that we've been waiting for all game, but instead the Mays team will take over.
And right there, that was just past the fingertips of Amara Darbo. You have to wonder where the mistake was made on that play. Did Darbo misstep and misread the play, or was Morris just a tad bit off accuracy-wise? It looked like Darbo just barely misran the route, as he seemed to be going a tad bit too straight for where the ball was intended to go.
Whatever the reason, the ball goes back to the Mays team, taking over at their own 30 with 5 minutes left to play. They need a touchdown to tie things up with the blue team.
If you're the Mays team, you need to just throw the ball here.
Malzone looking to throw the ball on 1st down. Fakes the handoff. Instead, he will be forced to roll out to the left sideline and step out of bounds. He was forced out of bounds by Royce Jenkins Stone as the linebacker had closed the gap. Malzone was looking to run to pick up positive yardage. Instead, it will simply be no gain, setting up a 2nd and 10.
Gotta give Malzone credit on that one, though, as if he had been tackled back there, that would have been a very big loss. Instead, it's only a loss of 2. and the Mays team still has a decent shot at getting a first down here. However, they're going to probably try to run the ball again, and they really need to focus on getting some of these throws out to Chesson at least.
They're going to mark that run as a 2-yard loss. Malzone firing to the left side. Great coverage made there. No room for Maurice Ways as he couldn't create any separation. Brandon Watson, making the great coverage play, not allowing Maurice Ways any separation on that left sideline, setting up 3rd and long. 12 yards needed to move the chains as the Mays team, trailing 7-0, has 4.5 minutes to tie things up, but they risk giving the ball right back to the blue team here if they can't pick up 12 yards and a first down. Malzone in the shotgun. He has Derek Green to his right. 2 receivers split out wide to the right as well. Malzone, plenty of time in the pocket, firing over the middle. J.U. Chesson only got one hand up and couldn't secure the football. Some fans hoping for a flag for pass interference. They won't get it as it falls incomplete, just out of the reach of J.U. Chesson, but it looks like a good throw from up here. Chesson just not able to get that second hand up, maybe a bit out of his reach, but the ball will go back to the blue team with 4:25 left to go in this 4th quarter of the spring game. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. Leo Blavin alongside CJ Stone.
Malzone right there had a very good pass. It was strong. It was accurate. It just seemed like Chesson was not able to get his feet positioned at the right time, had to jump for that ball and extend. And when you have to extend, you have to try and hope that you can nail the catch with one hand, but with the force that Malzone threw that ball with, it just wasn't. I doubt anyone would have been able to actually grab and hold on to that catch.
4:25 left to go. Shane Moore still in the game, so it doesn't appear Wilton Spate will get his opportunity in this spring game. The first down is a play-action pass rolling out to his left was Morris, who tried to fire it in the direction of Jerron Dukes, but it fell incomplete. Again, one of his weaknesses was rolling out and trying to release the ball on the run, as again, the accuracy an issue there.
Right there, that wasn't a terrible pass from Morris, but the one issue is that Dukes was being stalked in his route. If Dukes had made that catch, he would have had to make it with someone on his back. If you're the quarterback, you got to try and give your receivers a better chance of getting a pass that isn't completely covered.
Delano Hill was there on the coverage. Pass fell incomplete, setting up a 2nd and 10. Shotgun again, trips receivers out wide to the left for Morris. He's got Shulman in the backfield and will fake the handoff. Quarterback option read as Morris keeps it, picks up 7 yards on the 2nd down carry, sets up a very manageable 3rd and 4.
Morris showing a little bit of speed right there, something you haven't seen from him in the past. Had plenty of space, made the smart decision to just try and take what you can get from the defense, and able to set his team up to get another first down as long as his offensive line can stay strong, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be a run play coming up.
3rd and 3 for the blue team, willing to let as much time run off the clock as possible with a 7-0 lead. 3:40 left to go in the 4th quarter, 10 seconds now on the play clock as the blue team breaks the huddle. Shotgun trips receivers out wide to the left in a bunch formation. Morris has Shulman on his left hip in the shotgun. Morris takes a snap, firing to the right. Amara Darbo able to hang on for the great catch and pass. The connection made between Morris and Darbo, enough to move the chains. Ball will be marked at the 50-yard line as the blue team keeps things rolling with a 7-0 lead.
So far today, both Morris and Darbo have been pretty in sync. When the ball's been thrown to Darbo, it's been catchable every single time, and he's come up and made some really key plays before everything's been said and done. Without Darbo, that touchdown that was thrown to Dukes wouldn't have been possible, and so far Morris seems to have found himself a pretty good companion to have there on the offense.
2 receivers out wide to the left for Morris in the shotgun, 1st and 10, ball at the 50. Shulman on his right hip. He will hand this one off to Shulman, who bounces out to the left side. Not a lot of running room as, again, Joe Bolden, the first man there to make the play. Gain of maybe a yard for Wyatt Shulman.
Got to give the Mays team's defensive line credit there. They stuff Shulman before he can go anywhere. Bowman just engulfs him, keeps him from being able to move laterally in any way and stops anything from happening on the run play right there.
Timeout taken by the Mays team to stop the clock with 2:43 left to go in the ball game. 2nd and 9 faces the blue team, who have a 7-0 lead here. So the Mays team obviously needs to get a stop and then a score, but first things first, the defense has got to make a play.
So far, if you are the Mays team, the one thing that you have to be happy with is that your defense has done a very good job at stopping the run. It's also done a pretty good job on coverage when it comes to keeping the big play from happening 9 times out of 10. Yes, Amar Darbo has gotten the best of Dennis Norfleet, but Norfleet's done a pretty decent job at covering him otherwise.
As the blue team, led by the offensive coordinator, Tim Drevno, has had just a little more offense than the Mays team so far in this game. They've got a touchdown to show for it on the scoreboard and lead 7-0 with 2:43, 2nd and 9 for Shane Morris's led side. He takes the snap under center, hands off to Shulman. Again, no running room. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, but nothing more. As 3rd and 9 faces the blue team, and the Mays team takes another timeout to stop the clock with 2:38 left to go in the spring game.
Now, if you're the Wolverines, something that has to be slightly concerning is the fact that that neither side on the offensive line has been able to generate the holes for the running backs. The running backs have just essentially run into walls or tried to go the outside, and the outside runs have been more or less the more successful plays as they've been able to get maybe 5 or 6 yards. But outside of that, neither team has been able to really push holes for the running backs to really have a shot at making big plays during this game. The offensive line was an issue the past few years, and so far they've done a good job of protecting the quarterbacks, but they still need to mesh together when it comes to helping the running backs move forward.
Defense has been the strength for both teams, undoubtedly. When you see a score of 7-0, I think that's pretty clear, but the blue team has had some impressive moments on offense. They have 155 yards. 135 of them have come through the air. 3rd and 9 with 2:38 left to go. The blue team looking to kill some more clock, but Morris drops back on this one, firing in the direction of Amara Darbo, just out of his reach as Morris was hit on the release. A bit slow to get up, but he will walk over to the sideline, and the Mays team will get their chance. They've got 1 timeout and 2 minutes and 33 seconds left to go. It appears they'll start with this ball inside their own 20. And they're gonna have to go the length of the field looking for a touchdown as they trail 7-0, and it will be Alex Malzone, the freshman from Brother Rice, looking to lead his side to tie the game up.
Now the Wolverines here the Mays team here has got to try and move the ball down the field in the fastest way possible. They essentially have to run a 2-minute offense, even though they have 33 seconds left on 2 minutes and 33 seconds left on the clock. But if they try to run the ball, which so far has not given them that much success, they've run the ball better than the blue team, but they need to throw it so that they have a chance at least moving down the field. They have to go essentially 90 yards.
Bunch receivers to the right. Malzone looking in that direction, fires to Freddie Canteen, who was unable to hang on to the football. The last guy to hold on to it was Jordan Lewis, but they're going to rule that it was a catch, and he hit the ground. Jordan Lewis disagrees, but not a lot of time to review it, and I don't think they'd review it anyway, so they'll give the completion to Freddie Canteen, who was just able to hold on to it. Although looking at the replay, I don't know if that was the case. They'll get to the line quickly and snap it. Malzone settles, looking for room to the right, and is just tripped up. He had a lot of room if he could get through the first wave of defenders, but he was unable to do so as he was brought down by Garrett Miller.
Right now, Malzone has essentially 2 more chances to move this ball. Needs to get a much better, quicker pass out to a receiver that isn't completely covered. And that's one thing that this blue team's secondary has done very well. The receivers for the Mays team just have not been able to generate any kind of space. While Darbo for the blue team has been able to just get ahead of Dennis Norfleet and have a chance to make some of the better plays, the blue team's defense with players such as Jordan Lewis have just been able to smother the likes of Freddie Canteen and J.U. Chesson.
1:59 left to play. The Mays team has burned their final timeout. 3rd and 7. Ball on their own 14-yard line. The blue team on top 7-0. So the Mays team has to pick up this first down and continue to keep this drive alive. Real 2-minute offense comes in now because they have no timeouts and 1:59 left to go in this spring game. 2 receivers out wide to the left, stacked. Malzone looking in that direction. Fires this one to Brian Cole. Cole trying his best to get upfield, but runs sideline to sideline rather than upfield. Picks up 4 yards, sets up a 4th and 3. The Mays team has to hurry, though. They need the first down and a whole lot more as the clock continues to run. 1:35 left to go as Malzone readies in the shotgun with Derek Green to his right. 2 receivers out wide to the left, 1 to the right. Malzone takes it, fires quickly to Freddie Canteen, who gets upfield. Just beyond the markers is where he makes the catch. He will be marked down at the 25-yard line. Clock will stop to move the chains and then keep going. 1:28 left to go. Mays team looking to tie things up down 7-0.
And so far, Malzone is just doing his best to get that ball out and throw it to the most open receiver. He doesn't have time to launch it downfield and just needs to keep getting yards.
Malzone takes the snap on 1st and 10, fires to Freddie Canteen. Full extension, able to make the play, but doesn't get out of bounds. Clock will continue to run. No timeouts left for the Mays team. 1:14 left to go as Malzone directs the offense. 2 receivers out wide to the left, 1 to the right. That'll appear to be the formation they stay in. Michigan's blue team in a prevent defense, trying to prevent the tying score from coming from the Mays side. Malzone continues to fire again to Freddie Canteen, who gets just beyond the chains to make the play. Will stop the clock momentarily so they can reset things. Another first down is the Mays team looking to keep the drive alive. Ball on their own 36-yard line with 55 seconds left to play.
Short passes here are working for the Mays team. They just have to keep them up. And good job from Freddie Canteen going to get these balls and holding on to them.
1st and 10. Malzone takes the snap, looks to tuck it and run it. Will now fire it wisely out of bounds rather than running for a short gain. And seeing the clock stop, he gets rid of it. Will stop the clock with 41 seconds left to play. 2nd and 10 on their own 36 as the Mays team trails the blue team 7-0 as this 4th quarter is coming to a close.
2nd and 10, stopping the clock. This gives you a little bit more time to plan out what you're going to do on the offense. That was a very smart move by Malzone right there, just throwing the ball out of bounds, giving your team some more time to reset instead of taking it down and having to keep up with that hurry up.
First stoppage in 5 plays for the Mays team. Malzone in the shotgun. Looking left and firing left. He's got Freddie Canteen now on the left side, trying to get upfield. He'll pick up 6, maybe 7 yards, but stays in bounds. The clock will continue to run. Half a minute left to play in the game. The Mays team's got to hurry, and they've got to start looking more to the sidelines. They're out of timeouts. 25 seconds. Going to be 20 seconds left to play before they even get this snap off.
Tick, 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 tick. This snap cannot come fast enough. The Mays team is running out of time.
Malzone finally does get the snap off, but there's a flag, and it's going to be a false start committed by the Mays team.
Mays team not looking so good on these last couple of drives, just not able to get the ball out fast enough, even though they had to move as quickly as possible.
Yeah, just not able to even get it to the sideline. They haven't had a receiver get out of bounds yet. The only stoppages have come from first down.
You have to wonder if that's just because Malzone is trying to.
Yeah, the 10-second runoff will come. They will reset the clock at 6 seconds. So it's Hail Mary time for the Mays team. They're down 7-0 against the blue team. Ball on their own 37. Malzone's going to have to chuck it the length of the field. One last snap. He settles and fires out to the left side, and the catch is made, but time has expired as Amara Darbo steps out of bounds. The game is over, and that will do it.
That's going to be it for a big first spring game under the Jim Harbaugh era, as the blue team is able to come away with the win for this game, 7-0. So the thing you've got to be most confident of, if you are a Wolverines fan, you saw Shane Morris come out today and play more comfortable than you've seen him play in the past, able to make the big plays that were necessary, and Amara Darbo stepping up as the possible next big receiver to be important to this Wolverines team.
The final score, the blue team 7, the Mays team 0. Shane Morris, the winning quarterback, the losing quarterback, Alex Malzone, some stat totals. 20 yards rushing for the blue team, 53 for the maize team, 125 passing yards for Alex Malzone, 135 for Shane Morris. Final total yardage, blue team 155, 178 for the maize team, 8 first downs for the maize team, 6 for the blue team. But the blue team got the most important stat, 1 touchdown to nothing, as they win the spring game 7-0. On behalf of CJ Stone and myself, Leo Blavin, thanks for listening to WCBN Sports coverage of the 2015 Michigan spring game. The final score again, the blue team 7, the maize team nothing, as Jim Harbaugh makes his debut at Michigan Stadium in this spring game. So long. We wish you good afternoon and go blue.